In 2018, an amazing discovery was found in northwest Canada by a professor named Brian Pratt. Pratt is a geologist and a paleontologist that happened to suggest that animal life was on a piece of shale he found 35 years ago. Pratt had a hunch and sliced this rock and scanned them to see whether they revealed ancient signs of life. And indeed, they did. Pratt enhanced these images and found a fossilized worm tunnel. This worm tunnel turns out to be 500 million years old. This is older than the dinosaurs. This superhighway reveals an ancient seafloor. So, what does this mean? In order to understand this amazing discovery, let's go back 500 million years. It is the Cambrian period, where there is no life on land and the Earth is starved of vegetation. It is a bare planet, and the only known life was in the ocean, or so we thought. 500 million years ago, worms would build tunnels underneath the ocean floor. Fast forward 434 million years later, and these worms are digging underneath the dinosaurs. Above ground, beetles are cleaning up scraps, along with other strange prehistoric insects. These prehistoric worms no longer exist today, but they left behind a large legacy of worms that we see every single day. But I won't be talking about these worms. I will be talking about insects that are often mistaken for worms. That's right, I'm talking about mealworms, also known as Timbrio molitor, a species of darkling beetle. Ah yes, the darkling beetle. Darkling beetles are the final stage of mealworms. This is because mealworms aren't actually worms, they're larvae. This is the second of 4 stages of life and exists to eat and grow until they have enough energy stored in to begin transformation into a pupae and then turn into darkling beetles. Kinda like the hungry caterpillar, but instead of turning into a pretty butterfly, they're turned into a beetle that I've been studying for the past 3 years. The life of a mealworm. In nature, mealworms live in moist, dark places, such as animal dens, underneath rocks, and rotten logs. But mealworms are often not found in the wild because they prefer human environments, like your house. They are more suitable, and this means mealworms can become pests. The common places to find mealworms are in the countryside, where barns and silos are. Darkling beetles are often attracted to barn wood, where they lay their eggs, and the larva of the darkling beetle is more likely to be found in unharvested grains or grains that are stored in silos. Wild mealworms eat decaying leaves, wood, dried grasses, grains, and occasionally dead animal corpses. In human habitats, though, mealworms eat stored grains, and they get their water from fruits and vegetables, such as potatoes, carrots, and apples. Most people that want mealworms aren't interested in them for feeder insects. Mealworms are the most popular feeder insect in the feeder industry. People use mealworms to feed their feeder dragons, bluebirds, chickens, fish, and other animals. They are high in protein and fat and are easy to maintain for the most part. So, how do I keep mealworms? Well, if you already buy mealworms, you know what to do. Usually, you go buy them, you put them in the fridge, and then that's it. And if you do this, please put food with them because mealworms need food, and without food, they will die. Let's talk about breeding mealworms now. If you want to breed them and not buy them every single week and every other month, then this is the video for you. Number 1. Where do you put your mealworms? The best place for mealworms to go is in a plastic tub. If you have a lid, then have holes in the lid so they can breathe. They don't really need a lid though. Mealworms can't climb, and beetles can't climb either, and nor can they fly. I think plastic bins are the more suitable place for mealworms to be in. I recommend getting 2 bins. One bin for darkling beetles and the other bin for mealworm eggs and mealworms. Why is this? Well, darkling beetles and mealworms, they tend to prey on each other. It's safer to separate them. I've learned from my own experiences, mealworms in harsher climates and harsher times, so if you forget to feed your mealworms for 2 days because you're busy with exams, they might end up eating each other, and they might eat other beetles, they might eat pupae, and they might even eat the eggs. So it's best to keep them in separate bins. So when you have your mealworms in a bin, it's not just in a bin. They have substrate. Mealworms need substrate because substrate is also a food source for mealworms. I recommend buying substrate because it's easier and you don't have to buy that much substrate. You trade out substrate every other month. So I usually mix mine together with 2 different brands of substrate grains, which I get on Amazon. I will have a link down below if you are interested in buying the ones I use. They have grains and biobedding, incubation stuff for like your insects to have an easier time incubating. They have all types of good food sources in there as well, like brined up cereals and oats and corns and wheat and lots of different flours. So if you enjoy having that and buying it instead of making it, that's easier for you. Now, if you want to make your own substrate, I recommend using grounded up oatmeal, cornmeal, wheat flour, oats, and cereals. It's crazy, but cereals, yes. And I recommend Cheerios being the cereal you use, not the Honey Nut ones, but normal Cheerios. And any other cereal without any sugar in it. Also, dried up dog food is super good for mealworms. Mealworms do eat dog food, along with superworms as well. I think this mixture of dry foods is super good, and it will fill your whole container if you have them all together. Of course, you can mix and match if you have certain things you want to use for your mealworms. Remember, you're feeding your pet these mealworms, so make sure it's something that you would, be careful eating for your pets. So yeah, think about the mealworms. Next, what do you feed mealworms? Well, as I said, mealworms eat their substrate, but they also need water. Mealworms don't just drink water, though. They get water from their food. So the best thing for mealworms to eat are fruits and vegetables. I personally use potatoes, carrots, apple slices, and celery. I give that to my mealworms, and that's their water base. Once in a while, you can throw in other foods and other, sometimes meat if you want to feed them meat. I never feed my meat. I don't see a need to because they get enough food from what I give them. Mealworms can eat just about anything, and I mean anything. You can put a donut in there and they eat it. I don't recommend putting a donut in there, but if you want to experiment with mealworms, you can do that if you wish. Remember, you're feeding these to your pets, most likely, so make sure that you don't feed them like weird, strange foods like pasta, like a whole pasta dish and a burger for like the mealworms. It's just, no, that's probably not the best option, and I recommend giving them normal food substrate and normal food water. So carrots, potatoes, apples, celery, lettuce, things like that, cucumbers even. Maybe not acidic things like grapes and things like that are kind of acidic. I don't know if you should feed your mealworms that. I personally try to stay away from acidic things such as like grapes and all that other stuff. But I think bananas are kind of good. I've only fed them bananas once in a while, but I think bananas might be too much. So I normally don't feed them that. But the number one that everyone uses are potatoes and carrots. So remember that. Just get some leftover slices of cucumber and potato slices and carrots that you don't use and put it in the bin. Eating bugs? Well, in short, insects are nutritious, sustainable, and can taste great if you cook them right. Insects like crickets have more calcium, iron, B12, zinc, and vitamin A, and other micronutrients rather than beef. A gram of insects gives you more protein than a gram of beef. Insects contain complete proteins with the right balance of essential and non-essential amino acids. Mealworms are traditionally consumed canned or live and can be baked into breads, cookies, and deep fried with potatoes. For more nutrients, French fries, or simply roasted with salt and protein-rich snacks. Mealworms can also be made into a tasty burger. Remember that. Nutritional data on mealworms varies hugely depending on the breed, the conditions they're raised in, and what they are feeding the mealworms. Some sources suggest that mealworms are 12.72% fat, the good kind, and 20.27% protein, and 1.73 fiber. Many companies have started supplying insects for pets, like reptiles, and they are now upgrading their facilities to receive a certification to be fit in human consumption as well. Bugs like mealworms are available freeze-dried, canned, or live for human consumption. Remember, eating insects isn't new. Most of us have eaten an insect, whether we know it or not. Many of the food products we consume today, such as candy bars, chocolates, peanut butters, and cheese, all contain more than a trace amount of insects. And may or may not have eaten insects while you were a child. So, would you eat a mealworm? If so, I have some recipes down below in the description where you can try out and hopefully end up liking mealworms maybe. But if you don't want to, that's cool with me. I myself would not eat a mealworm. Sorry to cut it short. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you learned something about mealworms. And if you ever want to learn more about mealworms, don't mind reaching out to me, because I would definitely be willing to help and support you on your mealworm adventure. I have links down below to where I got my evidence, and other links to certain websites that help you get mealworm substrates and get bins for your mealworms and so on. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. In 2018, oh no, okay. In 2018, Brian Pratt is a... Wait. No, I messed up again. Okay, I got this. I got it this time. The super highly revealed an ancient sea floor. Cut that out. Cut it out. No, we're not doing it.